We have seen a local, state, and now federal response to the aftermath of Beryl. Joining us now is the FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell. FEMA, of course, being the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with what is the priority right now in the area?
Thanks, Mia. The priority for us is always to support the state and the local communities with what they need. And the thing that we keep hearing from them is power, right? The power, there's high numbers of power outages. It's starting to come back on, but it's really that complication with the power outages and the extreme heat indexes that I think that people are going to be exposed to. And so we want to ensure that we can provide whatever resources that they need to help support their community as they're better understanding the impacts to the power infrastructure and what's going to be needed to restore it.
What types of resources are those that you can provide?
Yeah, so we've got a number of things. We pre-positioned resources over the weekend, so they've been in place already. Things like water or food, tarps for some of the damages, but we also have generators and teams that can go install generators on critical facilities. All of those are ready to support if there's an area that they identify that needs them.
How many people does FEMA have here on the ground?
So it's really an interesting situation right now, Mia, because there was the previous disaster declaration that happened a little bit over a month ago from the tornadoes and the derecho with the flooding. And so we had several hundred people already on the ground supporting those recovery efforts. And we were able to quickly then position some of them to support some of the response needs. And then we sent in additional additional teams like search and rescue teams that have been on standby if they were needed. As well as, agencies like the Army Corps of Engineers or the Coast Guard to support any response needs. And so it's a really unique situation where we had a lot of people already there, but then we augmented them with some more response personnel to support whatever might have happened from Hurricane Beryl.
We have heard from our viewers nonstop, our neighbors and friends, community members, of course, their concern and need to get power back on. I know you said you're able to provide some resources such as water and things to make them more comfortable, but what is FEMA able to do in the event of all of these power outages that we have to deal with and maybe extended?
Yeah, when I was talking to the state director earlier, they have a lot of mutual aid resources on site to help restore the power. And our goal is to be able to help augment that if we can, to help get that power grid back up and running. And as they're doing that, again, we can bring in generators to support critical facilities to make sure that there's places that people can go to get cool if they need to. It's really working with the state and the local jurisdictions to understand their priority facilities to help get that facility up and running to a level that's going to make sure that they can provide a safe place for the community members to go to.
Educate us what those critical facilities would be. It's safe to assume hospitals, nursing homes. What are those?
Yeah, hospitals, nursing homes, definitely. We think of all of our medical facilities. We think of water and wastewater treatment facilities, but we also think of government structures. But it could be something as simple as a library, which is where a lot of people might go to cool off if need be, right? And so it really depends on the situation on the ground. It can be any of those types of public structures.
And for people now looking at damages to their property as well, once we get the power on, I think the focus then turns to the cleanup. What is it that FEMA is able to do for Houstonians and people in the greater Houston area when it comes to cleanup and damage around their personal property?
Now, right now, the declaration includes debris removal, which is support to the local community, the government structures within those communities to remove debris from the right of way. And it supports emergency protective measures, those things that I already talked about. What we don't have yet is the program that supports individuals for any damages that they receive to their homes. What's going to happen next is we're going to work with the state to understand the impact and the amount of damages to determine if we need to add that category of assistance to this disaster declaration. We're going to do those assessments. We've started to gather information already through imagery. We'll get on the ground and go door to door for some areas that we don't have good data, but we're going to work really closely with the state and local communities to understand the overall impact. And if they need this level of assistance and this program added, then we'll work with them on getting that added.
Cell service is spotty, communication is tough, even almost 24 hours after the storm or 24 hours plus after the storm. Tell us, how can people find FEMA and find those resources and help that they might need?
Yeah, so the communication issue is always a tough one. And I know many of our big providers, they'll bring in mobile units to help augment those communication assets so people can get that cell service and that cell connectivity. Again, I think right now the biggest thing that people need to do is, as they're looking at the damage to their homes, they need to document what's happened, they need to take photos, but they need to contact their insurance company to get that claim started as well. As far as accessing FEMA right now, again, since we don't have that program added on for this disaster, the best thing they can do is contact their insurance company and start documenting the impacts to their home, so we can have, that data helps us make decisions, helps, the state better understand what the need is that's out there.
A timeline for that program to be instilled.
Yeah, it just depends on how long it takes us to get into the community and how much of the community was impacted. But you can know that we're going to be working really hard to make sure that we get the right data as fast as possible.
Deanne Criswell with FEMA, getting us answers to our questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mia.